Hey everyone! So we're here in Joe's backyard and I wanted to give you all a little tour on the yard work that we've been doing to help spruce it up. This is an apartment in Lower Pack Heights and Joe actually shares it with 5 other families. To be honest, it hasn't really been tamed in years, so there's a lot of growth and plants but not much maintenance. So come and let's take a look. So the very first thing we worked on is this patch here. Before there were weeds going all the way up to here, so we just took them all out and then opened it up to put this beautiful brown mulch on top. And what the mulch does is keep the weeds from growing back up. And even though this patch is kind of small, it's the first thing that you see when you come down to the backyard. So we wanted to surprise the neighbors with this first thing. These are the chairs that we sit in to enjoy the garden. It's one of my favorite spots in the whole backyard. We sip our coffee here in the morning and even work on our laptops during the day. The really cool thing about this section is if you look up here, it's a nice shaded area, but if you kind of do like an aerial view, you'll see that there's a nice red flower garden up top. Super beautiful. We have these trees that were actually already here when Joe moved in. But if you can imagine, the branches were completely overgrown and they came all the way to the ground here. Literally, we couldn't even see this back portion of the backyard. So yesterday, my job was to cut through these trees and basically give it a haircut. I use these clippers like the size of my hand and just cut every single branch individually. So now it has a nice trim and we're hoping to keep it this height. The good thing about this is it really opens the backyard up like 6 or 7 feet. So really expands the space. And under here it gets, whoa!
Oh no!
Okay, let's try that again. So if we come back here, you'll see there's some really gnarly dead branches. These are really hard to cut. Like, I gave it my best shot, but I think we're just gonna kind of leave these here. There's also some pretty like crazy creatures up there, birds, and like we've heard some eyes looking at, you know, our neighbors at night, so don't want to disrupt the ecosystem. This is one of our favorite sections. It's our flower garden. What we did was we went to Home Depot and spent probably less than $20 on all of these plants. Just wanted to pick cheap plants that were colorful, and we repotted them into this section. Before there was like a crazy bush here, all these weeds, so we actually repotted the bush and took out all the weeds and then put this beautiful mulch on it. So now we basically have this like 5-foot section to grow these flowers. This fence is really unique. Joe is super handy and he built this, and I love it because it's rustic and it also covers this metal fence in the background. So right next to the flower garden is our community herb garden, and we're sharing this with all the neighbors. They even contributed their own pots. So we have some mint, basil, cilantro, and then here's a marigold and a vinca flower just to add some color. We decided to use pots instead of putting them in the ground just because that way we can really differentiate the different plants and also just make sure they have like their own space to really root and thrive. This here is actually my favorite plant in the whole garden. I'm actually not sure what it's called, but it's purple and there's tons of flowers. This was what Joe has been working on the past few days. You can see it's really been cleaned up. The vines are gone from these plants and they have room to breathe now. And there's also the weeds gone, and we put the brown mulch as well on the bottom to stop the weeds from growing and make sure that the bush has enough nutrition. But it's really night and day from the crazy weeds that used to be here to now just finally being able to see the bush. So that's all the work we've done so far, and we'll keep checking in to show you our progress. It's been a lot of fun and super therapeutic, and we're excited to keep going at it.